Up everyone, it is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today we're gonna get into another 5 alternatives to limited edition palettes. So I started this series off because I was like, I know there's palettes that people love that, you know, they wish they could have got their hands on, like people in the Mented palette or people in the Beauty Juice collection from Melt. So that's kind of what inspired me to film this video of, hey, when I see a palette that looks similar to a palette I just talked about, like Morte or another palette, I'll go ahead and you know, put it aside and make these videos to help you all. Now the only thing is, a couple of the things in here are actually limited edition palettes, even though they're supposed to be duping other limited edition palettes. But I figured since the palette is still available now, you can go ahead and grab it now when you see this video, so that way that won't have to be your alternative that got in the way as well. So I'm gonna get those two out of the way, and then we're gonna go into like the other ones that are permanent. So the first one I have is the Waiting Room from the Beauty Juice collection that I just talked about. I feel like the Dark Vader palette from ColourPop is similar, but again, remember the Dark Vader palette obviously will be limited edition as well because it's a, what is the IP? But I figured, I feel like the color story is somewhat similar to the point where you could get somewhat similar looks with it. Now it doesn't have the cool, weird matte white shade, but I feel like the other shades are similar. You see what I'm talking about? Like, it's more gray than black. I mean, there's grays and blacks just like this palette, so I felt like it'd be a good alternative for this one, so I figured I should point it out and show it to help you all, because y'all know I love making me a dupe video. As soon as I find out that it's even possibly a dupe, I'm like, yes, we need it. So I feel like that one is a good dupe to the the Waiting Room palette, so I figured I would show you both those. These have been sitting here for a while, but I needed a fifth one since it's called 5, so that's why I went ahead and, you know, just held out. Now please keep in mind, mine doesn't look the way it's supposed to, but I have the Petites 4 Lapis. If you all remember, I bought all the palettes from there, and I felt like, now this isn't an exact dupe either way because it actually has colorful mattes, and you know, my biggest complaint about this one was the fact that there weren't any colorful mattes. So if you're like me and like colorful mattes, I feel like you'll appreciate this dupe. The only thing is, this dupe is part of a limited edition set too. So what I did was I took the black out of the Bouillon palette and put it in here, and then I think I took this shimmery shade out of wait, no, this shimmery shade was already in here, but you see what I'm saying? Like, the way I made this palette, it is somewhat of a dupe to this one, and this one is way cheaper than this one, of course, because this is $25 and I think this was like 6 or 8, something like that. I actually have the burgundy one on my eyes right now, and the quality of these is actually really lovely, so I feel like this is good dupe for this one right here, especially if you're missing colorful mattes, because Viseart has a tendency not to do as many. I mean, well, they have done colorful mattes, but they usually do them in the bigger palettes. They did make some cute little small versions of their bigger palettes though, so you might be interested in those. And I really love the quality of the Dark Vader one. I probably should have mentioned that too, because the melt quality is good, because you know they do good when it comes to their holiday palettes, but the quality on the Dark Vader one is good as well, and I feel like it's a good alternative for that. So the next two I have is the Sir John and was it Luminous up against the Bijouette palette. So I feel like these are somewhat similar. Believe it or not, the Viseart one actually has more colorful shades, but Sir John made sure he had a whole bunch of different tones of brown in it. And I feel like the color stories are similar enough to where you can get a similar look. You see what I'm saying? Like, this one has a red and orange, and his doesn't. And this one has, he has a purple, a green, a blue, and you see the purple and green and blue in here. So that's why I feel like these would be good alternatives. And if you all remember, I told you all that this one was 15% off a little while ago on Beauty Bay, so I hope you snapped it up because it's a good alternative to the Sir John one. If you're not into as many neutrals as other people are. You know, I'm not really big on neutrals, but I love Sir John, so I went ahead and got it. Plus Jackie said the quality of this was really good, and she's right, the quality of it is good. I didn't have any issues with it, even though I heard a couple of negative reviews about the mattes, but you know. The next palette I have is the e.l.f. Retro Paradise palette. Now this was limited edition. I like the color story and I actually got a really nice look. I did feel like I had to put in work to get that nice look though, but I feel like now this one is more than the e.l.f. one, but I feel like it has the same color story, and I'm going for color story, not necessarily pricing this. So this is the Oliva 2 palette from Udensai. Oh, if you all were interested, and Jessica said her Hella palette is back in stock. I don't know if it's back in stock when I'm making this video, but I know she said in her video that I watched today that it had come back in stock. I know it came back in stock by March, I think 23rd or 28th. I know it was in the 20s of March that it came back in stock, so if you were interested in that, just go ahead and try to get it. But I feel like this is a good alternative to this one, because you have the warm tones on this side. It doesn't have the red in it, and it has 2 pressed glitters, which upset me about this, like a lot of their other fans, which is why they didn't put any more in there. But you can see the color stories are really similar. It just doesn't have the red and the purple, but everything else is the same. So, plus it'd be a good way for you to try Uden's Eye, because that's how you're supposed to say it, not Odin's Eye, it's Uden's Eye apparently. And the last one to talk about, because that was number 4. Now I don't know if anybody would actually consider this a as good of a dupe, because I mean, I feel like the color story of the Scott Barnes Glamazon palette is much deeper than the Age of Opulence, but I figured I'd show you both of them now, because if you like more vibrant, punchy colors in your eyeshadow palette, I feel like you like this one better. And since you can't get Book of Magic anymore, I can't suggest that one. Maybe I should have suggested the Midnight palette as well, but I feel like this one is just kind of like a, you know, depends on your color preference. I'm pretty sure they still have this on Beauty Bay's website. I should probably check into that before I did this, but you know, too late now, we're here. So these are the comparisons, and I personally like this one better than this one, just because I feel like, I don't know, I'm not into the neutrals, and it's not enough pop of color in here to me. But those are the 2 palettes I had to compare. I mean, the 5 palettes I have for alternatives to limited edition palettes. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.